Shabbat Shalom. I want to first wish the Bat Mitzvah families a Mazel Tov. Sienna and Chloe, you both did a wonderful job chanting from the Torah. I also want to thank you for sharing this Shabbat with UJA. Park Avenue Synagogue has a long tradition of hosting a UJA at PAS Shabbat that reinforces the strong relationship between our communities. I am honored to serve as a UJA and Park Avenue Synagogue chair alongside Karen Deutsch. Last year, Park Avenue Synagogue stepped up with UJA to support UJA's Israel Emergency Fund, and if you remember, Rabbi Cosgrove made an announcement from this pulpit on October 14th that our PAS community would raise at least $18 million. I am pleased to report that we surpassed that goal. Last UJA at PAS Shabbat, we had the privilege of hearing from UJA's CEO, Eric Goldstein, to hear about how the UJA community dollars were impacting the crisis in Israel. A year later, we are hopeful that the hostages will continue to come home and know that Israel is still in a state of chronic crisis. UJA and our philanthropic dollars continue to support ongoing needs in Israel, but we also have to remember the needs in our own backyard as we have seen the spike in anti-Semitism as well as other ongoing crises. Today, we are going to hear from Rabbi Deborah Joselow, Chief Planning Officer at UJA Federation. Deborah leads a team committed to caring for those in need, inspiring Jewish life, and building meaningful connections both locally and globally. An ordained Reform rabbi with a master's degree in Jewish education, Rabbi Joselow has always placed a deep emphasis on learning, leadership, and service. Her previous work at the Union for Reform Judaism as the Director of Educational Planning reflects her passion for shaping Jewish education and fostering lifelong engagement with Jewish values. We are grateful to have Rabbi Joselow here with us today to share her insights and vision for the future of Jewish life. Please join me in welcoming Rabbi Deborah Joselow.
Shabbat Shalom, good morning. Thank you for the very warm welcome. When I was invited to join your congregation this morning, I felt very privileged, but I'm not sure I would have said yes if I had known that I would be in that precarious place between three very fine teachers, Sienna, Chloe, and Rabbi Zuckerman, and Kiddush. But I'll do my very best to stand on their shoulders, and thank you again. It has been quite a year. Now, for most of the past 16 months, my second sentence has taken the predictable turn. However, this Shabbat, as I considered standing on this pulpit, sitting in this community, davening with your clergy, and the lessons of our Torah portion, I knew the next line needed to be different. It has been quite a year, and what we collectively have managed to accomplish is simply extraordinary. Here in New York, we opened a facility we call the Brooklyn Hub. It is the second in a pair. The first is in Queens and was opened during COVID. The neighborhoods were chosen because they are home to the highest concentration of poor Jews in New York. The Brooklyn Hub co-locates a variety of social and human services designed to break the cycle of poverty and enable individuals and families to achieve stability and move towards their full potential. The Hub provides food, benefits enrollment, legal counseling, job training, and other tools all in one dignified space. The Hub solves an often overlooked dimension of poverty, bureaucracy. Instead of being defeated by having the same conversation at multiple locations with different providers, each focused on their own thing, the Hub enables a client to make a single stop for comprehensive support. This year, the Brooklyn Hub is expected to help 11,000 people. This year, we completed a significant transformation of our Jewish day camp properties. Called the Henry Kaufman Campgrounds, these 500 acres are spread across 3 parcels, one in Long Island, another in Westchester, and a third on Staten Island. Purchased by a group of UJA activists in the 1950s, ours is the only Jewish community in the world with this extensive a footprint exclusively devoted to Jewish day camping. 14 different agencies send their campers to these sites. After decades of deferred maintenance, the campgrounds have undergone a massive renovation, both physical and programmatic, ensuring that generations today and tomorrow can be touched by the power of the Jewish camping experience. As we know, Jewish camps are essential building blocks of Jewish leadership. Last summer saw record attendance with 6,000 campers and 1,600 counselors building all kinds of muscles and memories. I could go on. The truth is, there's probably not a single corner of this great city that has not been touched in some way by the generosity and commitment of the UJA community. I can provide the same overview of our accomplishments internationally. We supported Jews in war-torn Ukraine with job training, mental health services, Passover and high holiday food deliveries. Together, we touched the Jewish community in Ethiopia, where 12,000 Jews still await permission to make Aliyah. They await amidst a chaotic domestic situation, a near civil war. This year, we opened a new health clinic in Gondar to assure that this community can access modern medical services. We're also committed to responding to natural disasters wherever they happen. This year, we supported relief efforts for those impacted by Hurricane Helene, and most recently, people affected by the fires in Los Angeles. And of course, we are deeply involved with the people of Israel, for whom we show up again and again and again. Alongside these headlines is the quiet day-to-day work of our UJA partner agencies. We rarely talk about what they make possible, and yet their work is fundamental to the fabric of this city, to the lives of Jews around the world, and to each one of us. Whether we have a child in a day school, a grandchild in Hebrew school, a parent in a senior program, a relative active in Hillel, a friend participating in job training, a colleague seeking mental health services, a neighbor involved in classes, cultural activities, or we ourselves are beneficiaries of care and connection, we know the power of this often invisible and unwavering network. In short, it has been a year of extraordinary accomplishment, and however much more there is to do, we must begin by being proud of what we together have made possible. There is no doubt that these are dark and difficult times for the Jewish people, and that forces in the world have brought us closer than we might wish to the generations of Israelites who endured persecution in Egypt. At the beginning of the book of Shemot, God tells us that our freedom will only come in phases. We knew that there would be painful pauses, waiting, wondering, uncertainty, the fear of what may or may not come next. Even this week, as the Torah brings us to the very brink of escape, we are made to wait. The last plagues do not happen in a neat sequence with a quick resolution. It takes 4 long chapters to finally leave Egypt, with most of the text devoted not to our flight, but rather to a series of instructions for the very first Passover. We are forced to wait until God can tell us how to celebrate. Whatever our people might feel after witnessing locusts, darkness, death, they are commanded to a celebration that continues to anchor Jewish life until today. And this is not the only anchor in the portion. In chapter 12, we read, "HaChodesh hazeh lechem Rosh Chodeshim Rishon." This month shall mark the beginning of the months. It shall be the first of the months of the year for you. We are not yet out of Egypt, and God, nevertheless, has us set our clock. And this will forevermore be the way we measure time. This year, the Jewish calendar changed forever yet again. We have a new day of mourning, and on day 484, a new and terrible Omer. But still, we begin with hope. If the book of Genesis provides our moral compass, the book of Shemot provides us with our communal roadmap. As we know from the generation of the Exodus, the responsibility for shaping the future, not only of a community, but an entire nation, is filled with imperfection. We emerge as a people in fits and starts, with doubts, with despair, and a tendency to want to go backwards. But history is made by moving only in one direction, and by koledat, by moving together as a community. I'm not standing here denying a rise in anti-Semitism. I'm not forgetting what people are facing on the streets, in classrooms, on campuses, in the workplace. I'm not burying the enormous needs of Israelis who are not anywhere close to the day after, and who continue to fight on multiple fronts for their lives and well-being. I'm simply reminding us of something we have always known. Being Jewish demands a different perspective. Like Moses, we must be able to stand in front of the burning bush and see beyond the flames to what is not consumed. And this week, we are the people who come to the shores of the sea, and we must look straight across to the other side, seeing the ocean not as an obstacle, but as a bridge to what is next. Bo, the portion commands, go, Bo. We don't fight back. We fight forward. We keep moving. We put our most vulnerable in the front. We let them establish the pace, and we walk together determined to move towards the future. No one is left behind, and we miss no opportunity for singing, for dancing, for celebrating. As our wise teacher, Rabbi Cosgrove, has written, we are not unaware of the hurdles we face or the possibility of failure. We carry both sets of tablets with us. That which is broken and that which is whole lead us on our journey to the promised land, forging for ourselves and for others a better life and a better world. It has been quite a year. I am so proud to represent our collective efforts, and prouder still of everything I know we will continue to accomplish together. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your partnership. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you.